What? I don't think I heard correctly, Yang Cheon asked again, trying to make sure he didn't mishear. You and I will have a duel, she said. He replied, oh, no. I heard you loud and clear. Then he retorted, you are talking nonsense. You must be drunk. Go to sleep now. But she didn't get angry at his words. Instead, she looked straight at him and asked, are you alright? He wondered what she was talking about and asked, what are you talking about? She then pointed directly at him, then pointed it to his chest. What is that? She asked, as his body began to emit a faint yellow energy. I don't know how you trained, but the enormous inner energy you have stored is not being absorbed, it is just circulating around. You know this could lead to you going into the devil's path, right? She said, her keen eyes clearly seeing the energy. This revelation left him a bit stunned. Then Yang Cheon think back. The jewel was not fully absorbed back then. It would have been expected that trying to store that much energy in an underdeveloped body, that would not be easy. You should quickly get rid of this, she said sternly, insisting that he follow her advice. Oh, so that is what you meant by sparring? No, not really. I just want to beat you up a little bit. She laughed as she said it, without a hint of embarrassment. Yang Cheon, sweating profusely, thought to himself, damn it, there isn't a single normal woman among all the girls I've met. Both of them arrived at the training arena. It's been a long time since I sparred with my little brother, she said while stretching to warm up her body. As he warmed up, she asked, aren't you going to use your sword, little brother? He listened to her question and replied, I don't use a sword anymore. She was a bit surprised upon hearing that and responded, oh, really? She thought to herself, until recently, I was still using a sword. Is being a swordsman too boring? You're such a fool, little brother. Thinking of this, she raised her sword and pointed it at him, asking, aren't you coming in? Seeing this, he also responded to her, don't forget to hold back your strength. She gave him a wry smile and said, all right, I will only attack enough to not kill you. Don't be scared. Just, before she could finish, he had already rushed toward her, preparing to throw his punch. And the result of him taking advantage of the situation was landing a hit on her. Not stopping there, he continued to gather strength in his left hand, preparing for the next strike. At that moment, he swung his fist, now enveloped in flames, toward her. And upon impact, an explosion occurred in midair. With this physical impact, Whibby flew straight down to the ground, creating an explosion that sent dust and debris flying everywhere. After landing the blow, he touched down and observed the cloud of dust. Then he called out, sister? In response, he heard her laughter coming from within the cloud of smoke. She continued to laugh and then created an explosion of fire from within it. The explosion was so powerful that Yang Cheon had to take a step back, while Whibby laughed louder and louder, like the flames she had created. At this moment, she calmly held her wooden sword and walked over to Yang Cheon. Then she spoke, little brother, you are pretty good. Seeing her compliment, yet with a gaze filled with a desire to fight, made Yang Cheon break out in a bit of sweat. This is crazy. Is this the power of a 5-star? Don't be ridiculous. It seems like it's already far beyond a 5-star. He marveled at how she definitely took an attack when he poured all his strength into it. Why is she still fine? Meanwhile, she maintained a cheerful expression. Yang Cheon hurriedly said, sister, this is just a spar. Let's stop the spar here. She replied to him, what nonsense are you saying, while lifting one of her legs, ready to do something. Next, she stomped down hard, creating a blast of air from her flames that sent him flying into the air. At that moment, Yang Cheon could only struggle to defend himself against it. Unbeknownst to him, she had already teleported to his side. From now on, this is going to be super fun, she said while swinging her fist toward him. With that punch, he was sent crashing down to the arena floor. But it didn't stop there. The flames from her fist clung to him, and the force behind it sent him flying far away from the arena. After a while, he finally came to a stop, with marks on his hands from blocking her punch. Then he thought, if I hadn't stopped. But before he could think too much, something came rushing through the smoke in front of him. Fortunately, he quickly dodged it. It was the wooden sword that Whibby had thrown. When he looked back, he saw his sister charging at him, with a fierce expression as she lunged for the sword with everything she had. Seeing her expression, he began to feel fear. That crazy woman, she's coming again. At that moment, she gathered strength in her legs, and flames began to surround them. Then she used her strength to kick forward at Yang Cheon, who managed to raise his hand in time to block the kick. Next came a flurry of attacks from her, while Yang Cheon could only defend and dodge them. At that moment, he had been pushed close to the wall while still dodging Whibby's attacks. At that moment, Whibby grabbed the sword that had been lodged in the arena earlier and pulled it out. Then she infused her energy into the sword and swung it toward him. But she didn't strike him. Instead, she stopped the sword right in front of his neck, leaving him feeling a bit puzzled. But he had been mistaken, because right after that, she grabbed his hair and said, don't open your mouth, or your jaw will pop off. At that moment, he could only hold back his tears, letting them trickle down as he tried to endure her blows. And after that, the sound of the wooden sword echoed across the starry sky. The scene shifted to a letter of some sort. After finishing the letter, the clan head of the Namgong clan spoke up. "What is this letter?" One of the subordinates, kneeling below, spoke up. "The young lady left this letter. It seems like she ran away." Upon hearing this, he trembled violently, not knowing whether it was from anger or fear. Then he crumpled the letter and ordered his subordinate, "Right now, bring her back."